The Zenthari dreadnought Iron Maw hung in orbit above the shattered moon of Kalis 7, its hull scarred by plasma burns and kinetic impacts. Inside its cavernous engineering base, silence reigned, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, suffocating quiet of defeat. The ship's fusion core pulsed at 38% output. Its warp drive was offline. Its shield emitters were fused slag. And its crew, once proud warriors of the Zenthari hegemony, moved like ghosts, their mandibles slack with exhaustion and shame. They had lost the battle of the Helix Nebula. Not to a superior fleet, but to a single ancient human freighter retrofitted with jury-rigged railguns and a pilot who laughed while dodging plasma torpedoes. The hegemony had declared humanity a nuisance species, biologically soft, technologically primitive, emotionally unstable. They were not worth conquering, only containing, yet here they were, stranded, humiliated, and waiting for the human armada to finish what their lone raider had started. In a dimly lit maintenance alcove, Chief Engineer Vraktol stared at the flickering diagnostics of the primary graviton manifold. His forearms trembled with fatigue. "It's over," he rasped to his second-in-command. "Even if we repair the manifold, the core can't sustain jump velocity. We're dead in the void." Just then a proximity alert blared, not hostile, but curious. A small vessel, no larger than a shuttle, detached from the distant human fleet and approached the Iron Maw on a peaceful vector. No weapons charged, no shields raised. Just a single comms ping. "Request permission to dock. We come to help." The Zenthari bridge erupted in disbelief. "Help from humans?" sneered Fleet Commander Zorvan. "They mock us, but Vraktol desperate overrode protocol. Let them dock." The airlock hissed open. Out stepped a lone human. No armor, no weapon, just a grease-stained jumpsuit, a tool belt slung low on his hips, and a faded cap with the words, "Max Garage, Sol System," stitched in threadbare letters. He carried a dented metal case and smelled faintly of coffee and ozone. "I'm Mac," he said, nodding. "Heard you boys were stuck." Vraktol loomed over him, chitin plates flaring. "You are one organic. We are Zenthari. Our systems are quantum-locked, biosynaptic, and shielded against foreign tampering. What could you possibly do?" Mac grinned, popping the latches on his case. "Same thing I do back home, fix what's broke." What followed defied every Zenthari assumption about human capability. Mac didn't use their diagnostic consoles. He didn't interface with their neural uplinks. Instead, he listened. He pressed his ear against coolant pipes, tapped hull plates with a wrench, and ran his hands over scorched circuitry like a musician tuning an instrument. When the Zenthari engineer scoffed, he just said, "Machines talk. You just gotta learn their accent." He bypassed a fried harmonic regulator using a salvage capacitor from his own ship and 3 meters of copper wire. He realigned the graviton emitters not with precision lasers, but with a handheld magnetic calibrator and sheer intuition. And when the fusion core began overheating, threatening a meltdown, Mac didn't retreat. He climbed into the access shaft, welding torch in hand, and manually patched a microfracture in the containment field while radiation alarms screamed around him. "Why?" Vraktol finally asked, watching the human emerge soot-covered but grinning. "Why risk your life for us? We called your kind vermin." Mac wiped his brow with a rag. "Because a broken ship's a broken ship. Doesn't matter who's flying it. And 'cause my granddaddy used to say, if you got the tools and the time, you got no excuse not to help." By the third day, the impossible happened. The Iron Maw's core surged to 92% output. The warp drive hummed back to life. Shield emitters flickered online, bathing the bay in a soft blue glow. The Zenthari crew stood in stunned silence as Mac stood on the command deck, pointing at a star chart. "See that pulsar? Jump there. It'll mask your signature, give you time to regroup." Commander Zorvan approached, his voice low. "You could have left us to die, or demanded tribute, or claimed our ship as salvage. Yet you ask for nothing," Max shrugged. "I'll take a cold beer and a thank you. But I doubt you've got either." Zorvan did something no Zenthari had done in centuries. He bowed his head. "We owe you a blood debt, human. The hegemony will hear of this." "Nah," Max said, heading for the airlock. "Just tell him humans aren't what they think." As his shuttle pulled away, the Iron Maw powered up its engines. Not to flee, but to turn toward the human fleet. The Zenthari opened a wideband channel, their voice echoing across every ship in the sector. "This is Fleet Commander Zorvan of the Iron Maw. The Xanthari hegemony declares a ceasefire with humanity, effective immediately. Furthermore, we formally petition for technological exchange and mutual defense protocols. He paused, and we request the services of one human mechanic named Mac. Aboard the UNS Dauntless, Admiral Reyes stared at the transmission, then burst out laughing. "Only humans," she muttered. "Only damn humans could turn an enemy warship into an ally." With a wrench and a smile. Back on his shuttle, Mac sipped from a thermos of cold brew, watching the Iron Maw vanish into warp. He didn't know it yet, but his name was already spreading across the galaxy. Not as a soldier or a diplomat, but as the human who fixed more than just machines. He'd repaired trust, and in a universe of empires built on conquest, that was the rarest tech of all. Weeks later, on a remote asteroid refit station, a delegation of Xanthari engineers arrived, bearing gifts of rare crystals and a custom-forged multi-tool. They found Mac elbow-deep in the guts of a derelict freighter, humming an old Earth tune. "Master Mechanic," Fractal said, bowing again, "we have come to learn." Mac wiped his hands, grinned, and tossed him a socket wrench. "First lesson, never trust a silent engine. Second, always carry spare fuses." And so, in the cold expanse between stars, a new alliance was forged, not in blood or treaties, but in grease, grit, and the unshakable belief that no one should be left stranded. Because when the galaxy breaks down, humanity shows up with a toolbox and a damn good attitude.